Is hi everyone. Today I want to discuss a tweet that has gone viral. A tweet from Jordan Peterson directed towards Elliot Page, and that got Jordan Peterson suspended and now also banned from Twitter. For the people that don't know who Elliot Page is a transgender man. So previously he was known as um, Ellen Page, and now it's called Elliot Page. So he's a transgender. And if you don't know who Elliot Page is, he's a famous actor, famous celebrity that played in movies such as Juno, Super, Inception, and also was an inspiration for Ellie in the video game The Last of Us. So what happened is basically what Jordan Peterson tweeted was to show you the exact tweet. Let me just quickly show it. And hello there. So let me just please. Oh, yeah. So here. So Peterson had tweeted, "Remember when pride was a sin?" And Elliot Page just had his breast removed by a criminal physician. That was his tweet. So basically, remember when pride was a sin, and we all know that LGBTQ plus community is all about, pride, being proud to be part of the LGBTQ plus community, being gay, being transgender, all of that. So he's attacking, obviously, transgender people with his tweet, and specifically towards Elliot, because Elliot has transgendered, is a transgender, and has transitioned to a man. And um, also, Elliot has performed, has had his breast removed by a criminal physician. That doesn't really matter in this context that it's a criminal physician, and officially changed the name from Ellen to Elliot. So it's very clear that everyone should call him Elliot, and that it's trans man. Unfortunately, it seems that Jordan Peterson does not respect that and has sent a hateful tweet towards Elliot Page. I will get to you guys in a second. Yeah. Um, yeah. What happened is I will deep dive a little bit more into the story. But what happened is that because of this his tweet, his account got suspended, and Twitter said that if he would delete the hateful tweet, his account would be reinstated. Unfortunately, Jordan Peterson's response was, "I would rather die than delete my tweet." A little bit dramatic from GP, but GP is known to be a very dramatic person, and he also has a video response that I will be showing you a little bit later. And well, maybe we can also look a little bit at GP's background. Yeah, I agree that hateful tweets happen, but this one basically, there's clear rules that you have, clear Twitter rules that you have to follow, right? And I will, I'll show you the Twitter rules that and why his account got suspended. Let me see. Yeah, okay. Let me quickly share it with you. And that's why his account got suspended. It clearly violated the rules of Twitter. Here, so we have determined that this account violated the Twitter rules, specifically for violating our rules against hateful conduct. You may not promote violence against, threaten, or harass other people on the basis of race, ethnicity, national origin, sexual orientation, gender identity, religious affiliation, age, disability, or serious disease. So in this case, gender and gender identity, right? Why did Jordan Peterson tweet this? Well, obviously, Jordan Peterson believes that you only have two identities, two biological identities. You're either a man or you're a woman. There's nothing really in between, right? Uh, it's a little bit difficult because there are some things that I do not agree with in the LGBT plus community or in the transgender community, specifically when they're saying that anyone can identify as a woman, and that kind of takes away the biological aspect of being a woman, right? Because we can clearly identify a person on their, on their sexual organs, but also on their, mostly on the appearance, usually, whether it's a woman or whether it's a man, right? So the problem is that I know there's a cult following for Jordan Peterson, and if you look at his demography of the people that follow him, most of them are cis white conservative males. There is a clear reason for that, and not only cis white conservative males, but also incels. And incel stands for involuntary celibate, right? So people that want to have sex but cannot get it for certain reasons because women are not attracted to them. So that is because, and this is the genius about Jordan Peterson, the way he conducts himself, the way he expresses his opinions, makes it so that you think that what he says makes sense, and in some cases what he says does make sense, right? And I think the self-help books that he has released, right, the 12 rules of life, for example, there is some tips in there that do make sense, right? um but it's also targeted for a specific kind of individual that can use this, right? So yeah, so what happened is that Twitter gave him the chance to have his account reinstated, but he said, I would rather die. Absolutely crazy, crazy, crazy. And so I want to kind of show his video. I don't know if you guys are familiar with who Jordan Peterson is. He's a prominent figure. So basically, the history behind him is that he's a Canadian um, clinical. Sorry. Wait, let me see. Where does it? It's a little bit easier if I show it. Yeah, here. So Peterson is a Canadian psychology professor, and now he's a YouTuber that basically rose to fame approximately in 2016 because of two things. One, because of a video that was released on YouTube where he was at a protest rally at the University of Toronto, and basically he got interviewed and by transgenders, and I have to say the way that those transgenders were going at him, it was a little bit too aggressive and it was a little bit unnecessary. I think I would have handled it a different way. However, I have to say that Peterson stayed professional. We have to give him that. But clearly, if you identify as a different gender and you have different pronouns, Peterson is not going to use those pronouns. He's always going to use your biological pronouns. So if you're a man, he's going to use him, he, his. If you're a woman, he's going to use her, she, and her, she, and whatever I forgot. Doesn't matter. Yeah, I support LGBTQ plus the community, definitely. I think, and that's in every community. It's not perfect, and there are a few problems. I would say, first of all, the LGBTQ plus community tends to focus. They want to be heard, they want to be supported, they want to be respected, they want to be seen as equals. But to me, they're kind of focusing on the wrong things. For example, on bathrooms, like the bathroom stalls, it has to either be unisex, or it has to be clear that this has to be for LGBTQ plus, or this and that. I think that doesn't really help in any shape or form. That's not really the root cause. I think the root cause is you have to change the view of the people that are outside of the LGBTQ plus community to respect and see the LGBTQ plus community as equals. Because I completely respect the choice of people, and I would say it's also not my business if you identify as a certain, if you identify as a different gender, or even if you identify as an animal or whatever. No, I am not part of the LGBTQ plus community. If you mean that whether I am, in what way do you mean if I'm part of that? I'm not part of the community. I support them in the ways that I can. I completely respect them. Um, but they also have some flaws and some things that they tackle in the wrong way. But I can clearly say that Jordan Peterson is a misogynist, kind of a sexist as well. The problem is he has very outdated views. I mean, the guy is 60 years old, huh? So he's from the old guard. He doesn't really keep up to date with what's going on, and the brilliance of, and this is what I wanted to go back to, the brilliance of Jordan Peterson is if you listen to him, it all kind of seems to make sense. To be honest, I was a little bit on board of the Jordan Peterson train in the beginning, but then I quickly saw Jordan Peterson for who he really is. And the problem is that when he discusses his opinions, they are not really opinions, because he just, it's like he says something that is like, to him, is just a clear fact, but he never really expresses his opinions. It's like, it's like a sailboat on the water without wind in its sails. It's not going to a clear direction. And if it's not going to a clear direction, then you don't have a real opinion. And you should, in my opinion, always have a clear opinion, right? You should always show where you clearly stand, right? We can agree on that. So the problem is that he was always like, the way he was expressing himself, he never really showed a clear opinion, but he definitely, absolutely does if you read between the lines. And the thing is, Jordan Peterson sometimes slips up and you actually understand, oh, where he stands. Because sometimes he tried to keep this mask, this front, but he could not keep it forever. So in some, this is the hateful tweet is a clear, is a clear, clearly shows that Jordan Peterson is transphobic. He really is. Um, yeah, but I mean, for me, protest, as long as it's peaceful, if it's a peaceful protest, it's fine. The thing is, when the LGBTQ plus community do peaceful protests and the police intervene, even if they don't really have to, they will always call it an act of violence. So it's the police arresting people from the LGBTQ plus community, or doing certain violent acts, but they will say that it's the protest that is violent, when in most cases it's actually quite peaceful. Um, and I also don't think that, there's one thing I also don't agree with the LGBTQ plus community, is the pronouns. Is like, if they have varying different pronouns, how am I supposed to know what pronouns I should use? If you tell me what pronouns I should use, I'm kind of fine with that. But let's be honest. Let's not go too far, right? If you, if you, I don't know. I'm not really into what pronouns are out there, but I know there's some weird, crazy pronouns out there. I think we should find a certain common ground, and we should create some barriers, right? Because I feel that this could easily. easily get out of hand. I do hope that if we at some point maybe give the LGBTQ plus community what they want, which to me is equality and acknowledging that they exist and that these are just normal human people, that it's going to stop there. But that I don't know. I don't really know what the agenda is of the LGBTQ plus community. You put zoophile. Do you mean like you mean people that have sex with animals? Is that what you mean? Because clearly I don't. I absolutely don't. If that's what you mean, I am 100%. I am 1,000% against zoophiles, pedophiles, all of that. Absolutely, 100%. I am an advocate against, I'm an advocate for animals. I absolutely love animals. But this is very different conversation, right? Yeah, zoophiles are disgusting because animals, they cannot give consent. They absolutely cannot give sexual consent. And so first of all, it's very, unnatural. It's actually, it hurts the animal. It's just, it's not okay. And I think the only everyone is going to agree except for zoophiles. It's the same thing with pedophiles. Everyone agrees that pedophilia is completely wrong in any shape or form, except for the pedophiles. They are the only one that are going to advocate that it is okay, and that is really, really disgusting. Um, so basically, how did Jordan Peterson get rose to fame? And that started in 2016. Then everyone started to get to know his name. Is because he was at the protest rally of Toronto, the University of Toronto, and because he was he opposed the Bill C-16 Act, and the Bill C-16 is an act to amend the Canadian Human Rights Law, or the Human Rights Act, which basically means, and I'm going to show you guys this. Where is it? Um, where? Well, basically, the Bill C-16 Act says that there should be no discrimination against gender identity in no shape or form. There should be no discrimination. And yeah, for some reason, GP Jordan Peterson was against that. So, also interesting is that his daughter, Michaela Peterson, here says, and this is very funny to me, wow, at Jordan B. Peterson got a Twitter strike. No more Twitter until he deletes the tweet. Definitely not a free speech platform at the moment. There's a difference, guys, between free speech and free speech disguised as hateful speech. You can have as much free speech as you want if you do not harm others. I think we can agree on that, right? And Jordan Peterson clearly violated the Twitter rules and clearly directed hateful speech towards Elliot Page. And I think I'm glad that he got suspended. And to me, his reaction is very much childish, and he still doesn't think he did anything wrong. And I'm going to show you guys the video of Jordan Peterson's reaction to his suspension.
Hello, everyone.
We're not going
A
to
few
watch
days
everything,
ago, I
but
penned an irritated tweet in response to one of the latest happenings on the increasingly heated culture war front. In response to the decision of an actor named Ellen Elliot Page, I am employing this awkward and impossible naming style because it is now apparently mandatory, and am probably doing it wrong nonetheless, as you're doing it wrong is the whole point.
so this is what he's going to do throughout the whole video. He's going to say Elliot, Ellen, he, she. He's going to use both biological pronouns, and he's going to do that during the whole video, and he's going to say, "Wow, this is so confusing to me." Dude, it is not confusing. Elliot Page clearly is a he, clearly is a trans man, and wants to be called Elliot. Period. There's nothing difficult or confusing about it, but he makes it a whole convoluted story around it. How about we call him Jenny Peterson then? Right? We can call anyone who we want. Oh no, but biologically he's a man, so we should call him Jordan. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But maybe we should just call him Jenny. I'm in the mood to call him Jenny, right? Since he doesn't respect other people's gender identities, I'm not going to respect his gender identity. That is, let's go a little bit further in the video.
What is being made mandatory. But also, I'm trying to make a point. I've essentially been banned from Twitter as a consequence. I say banned, although technically I have been suspended. But the suspension will not be lifted unless I delete the hateful tweet in question, and I would rather die than do that. And hopefully it will not come to that, although who the hell knows in these increasingly strange days. What was it that I said that caused such a fuss? And that fuss is just beginning. And even more importantly and complexly, what exactly was it that I said that resulted in the ban? Here is the tweet in question. Remember when pride was a sin? And Ellen Page just had her breasts removed by a criminal physician. Then a link to a story that detailed out the happenings. The response from Twitter, quote, violating our rules against hateful conduct. You may not promote violence against, threaten, or harass other people on the basis of race, ethnicity, national origin, sexual orientation, gender identity, religious affiliation, age, disability, or serious disease. By clicking delete, you acknowledge that your tweet violated the Twitter rules. Delete. If you think we've made a mistake, submit an appeal to us. Please note that should you do so, your account will remain locked while we review your appeal. Let's take this apart. First, it is clearly the case that I did not promote violence against or threaten anyone with my missive. So that leaves the arguably lesser sin of.
Yeah, but what he's doing is he's not acknowledging the existence of Elliot Page for some reason, which I do not understand. He's, in my point of view, exerting control over over the gender identity of Elliot Page, which I do not really understand. This guy is a expert. He's an actual expert and a public figure, and he doesn't seem to be able to conduct himself in an appropriate way. Why should he have any saying of Elliot Page's gender identity? Can someone explain that to me? Because to me, that's really weird. Like, if Elliot Page wants to be called Elliot Page, has transitioned to a trans man, and clearly wants to be, from now on, be called a man, what is it? Why is Jordan Peterson's putting his nose in Elliot Page's business? That is what he's doing to me. That's what he's doing in my point of view. It's kind of weird, and to me it's clearly that he's transphobic. And he's not only transphobic, he's also a misogynist. He looks down on women. I've seen this many times. So he's kind of a sexist, misogynist, transphobic. Is a radical right wing. So yeah, it's just that's where the issue lies, and I don't understand how he does not see that. But that is because he's too much driven by his old fashioned ideologies. It's just that, basically. that's kind of what I wanted to show. Just a small part. I don't think you guys are too interested in seeing more of the video. If you are, let me know. We can keep watching it. But I thought it was very interesting, and yeah, basically, let me just move a few things here. Um, and the funny thing is, there was no prompt from Elliot Page. Like he was just what he was doing. He was promoting his new. Was it a movie or oh yeah, here he was just here just promoting the Umbrella Academy. What is it? Where does it say? Uh, yeah, it's about, yeah, I'm not familiar with that, but basically in his tweet, Pearson linked an article from the New York Post about how Page was proud to reintroduce his Umbrella Academy character to viewers as Victor Hargreaves, and that he was excited to see his real life transition being represented in the show, and that prompted Peterson to tweet this, yeah, basically this hateful speech. And yeah, I don't know. I am like, I always just think that people have their own freedom and they're allowed to do what they want, in as long as you do not harm others. So if you identify yourself as, you're biologically a man but you identify yourself as a woman, or vice versa, that doesn't really matter to me. That is your choice and I'm going to respect that. But there's also a fine line, and we have to be careful where we're going to, because as I said, I do not like when the LGBTQ plus community is saying that, yeah, a woman, being a woman is tied to the identity and not tied to biology, because clearly biology has been there since dawn of time, right? So we have clearly biologically a man and a woman, and it's fine to have then gender identity that is different. But we cannot. But if you say that um, gender is tied to your feelings, because that's kind of it, right? To how you feel or how you interpret yourself, you're kind of saying that women do not exist, and that's where I absolutely disagree with, because that is very, very, that is minimizing women, right? And I've heard this from women that have told me that, and I clearly disagree with that. So we have to be careful. We're treading on thin ice here. That's pretty much it, what I wanted to discuss about Jordan Peterson's tweet.